Guess what? The FIA has thrown a curveball, leaving us all wondering about the future of the sport. In the wake of the FIA's recent ambiguity surrounding its future in Formula One, could there be a more opportune moment to provoke a passionate driver who staunchly believes he was unjustly denied a Formula One championship over a decade and a half ago? Now, the big question is this craziness real, or is there more to the story? Could Felipe Massa, the determined driver in question, actually have the FIA's approval to shake things up and disrupt the sport? While he aims to stir things up, it might be a bit too late. However, there's a twist. A key figure in the FIA might have a different opinion. Massa's quest for a Formula One title seemed to be losing steam, with claims, bold statements, and calls for support falling on deaf ears. The infamous Crashgate incident in 2008 is the thorn in Massa's side, the reason he believes he missed out on a world title. Now, with the FIA's recent move, Massa's pursuit of glory might be back in the fast lane. Felipe Massa, on the brink of clinching a Formula One title, is dealt a devastating blow. The controversy swirling around the infamous Crashgate incident cost him not just a higher finishing position, but crucial points that could have made him the champion, all determined by the slimmest of margins, a single point. As the dust settled, it was revealed that the heads of F1 at the time, Bernie Ecclestone and Max Mosley, were not only in the know about the race-fixing scandal, but seemingly turned a blind eye. Ecclestone himself admitted, "Max Mosley and I were informed during the 2008 season about what had happened in the race in Singapore." Nelson Piquet Jr., feeling the pressure of contract negotiations, disclosed that he was asked by the team to intentionally crash, triggering a safety car period to benefit his teammate Alonso. Now, if Ecclestone and his cohorts were privy to such a scandalous event that could have long-term consequences and jeopardize the integrity of the sport, why the silence? Bernie Ecclestone's explanation adds another layer to the intrigue. He confessed, "We decided not to do anything for the time being. We wanted to protect the sport and shield it from a massive scandal." The decision to hush things up, to maintain a facade of stability, raises questions about the lengths taken to safeguard Formula One's image. Back in the day, there was a rule that once the FIA awarded the World Championship classification at the end-of-year ceremony, it was set in stone. Lewis Hamilton got his hands on the championship trophy, and everything seemed straightforward. Now, the reason no formal investigation kicked off? Supposedly, there wasn't enough evidence. Charlie Whiting, a much more credible voice in the sport, confirmed that Piquet Sr. had a chat with him at the Brazilian Grand Prix, testing the waters on what would happen if they spilled the beans. The FIA had recently given Massa the green light to kick things up a notch. The current FIA head, Mohammed Ben Sulayem, told Massa to go for it, but cautioned that getting results might be tough. He said, "It's up to you, but the FIA will have to protect themselves. Rules, sporting rules, and statutes, they're there, but they're not exactly written in stone. The statute of limitations isn't Massa's only hurdle." Mosley has passed away, and Ecclestone has been backtracking on his earlier claims just as his book hit the shelves. Coincidence? You be the judge. Massa's pleas for support from Ferrari have fallen on deaf ears. Not a peep from the Scuderia. And even if the team did respond, the head honcho of the time, Stefano Domenicali, now leads Formula One. The issue might either be hushed up or tossed into a lengthy external committee process. Massa is now trying to sweet-talk the very guy he's aiming to strip the title from, Lewis Hamilton. In response to whether he's directly spoken to Lewis, Massa said, "No, we haven't had any communication. Everything we're doing isn't against Lewis. I respect him as a driver for all he's done. One of the best in Formula One history, breaking records, bagging titles." Massa is adamant that his actions are aimed at challenging the outcome of a rigged race, not targeting Lewis Hamilton. In the heat of the manipulation, Massa was leading, holding the top spot. So, it's not a personal vendetta against Hamilton, he claims. He expresses admiration for Hamilton's efforts for justice worldwide and believes that eventually Hamilton will need to address the situation. In Massa's eyes, he's not going against Hamilton, but rather fighting for what he believes is rightfully his. And just when you think Massa might be reaching a bit too far, he gets a significant boost. John Todt, the ex-head of the FIA and a former Ferrari figure, throws serious weight behind Massa. Todt asserts, "Maybe we could have been tougher when the story became known, but there is no doubt that the Singapore Grand Prix was rigged and should have been cancelled." Todt's backing gives Massa's argument a newfound strength, coupled with on-the-record admissions of wrongdoing by the FIA at the time. Will Massa's persistence and newfound support pave the way for a re-evaluation of the past and the potential awarding of a title? Surprisingly, Hamilton's stance hasn't shifted much since just after the summer break. He emphasized, "I'm just focused on the here and now, helping a team get back in the championship race, and am not focused on what happened 15 years ago." Now, as the off-season kicks in and tensions with the FIA escalate due to other issues in the sport, Massa sees the perfect opportunity to turn up the heat. The timing is ripe to apply more pressure and push for resolution. But what could that resolution look like? Massa floats an interesting idea, a shared title. The proposal seems to acknowledge that, friendly gestures aside, Hamilton isn't about to let go of any of his hard-earned titles, especially not his debut championship, achieved amid fierce competition and top-notch machinery from the top teams at the time. Will Hamilton be open to such a compromise? Massa's legal team's strategy revolves around presenting the evidence they have, aligning it with Ecclestone's backtracked comments and the words of the late Mosley. Their goal, not necessarily for financial gain, but to bring the coveted trophy home. Bernardo Viana from Massa's legal team emphasizes their stance, stating, "We understand that the proper remedy would be the cancellation of the race, as Bernie admitted, and that he, Mosley, and Whiting always understood was the case." Viana argues that even if they were to consider a partial cancellation of the race, such as counting the results until lap 14 when Piquet crashed, Massa would still have been a champion based on the regulations of the time. According to Viana, he would receive 50% of the points. Felipe was robbed of 10 points that day, and he lost the championship by 1. So the math is very clear. There's a tight window for challenging race results and titles, even if new evidence comes up. The FIA's code says you've got 14 days after a race and 4 days before the FIA prize ceremony to ask for a review. The final say comes from the International Court of Appeal, agreed upon by all involved in a championship. Massa's legal team knows these rules but doesn't see them as roadblocks. Viana, part of Massa's team, dropped a hint. Maybe the lack of outside control is the real issue. Ecclestone's forgetfulness and the inability to question Whiting and Mosley don't bother Viana. He says, "We're confident in our evidence. Can't say more for now." Massa's legal team is in a holding pattern, anticipating a response from the FIA and FOM on matters pertaining to the case. The original deadline for answers before potential legal action in the British High Court is now on pause as discussions persist regarding a more realistic time frame. Viana shared insights, stating, "They have requested more time, and we are internally evaluating whether to extend the deadline in good faith. They are still within the time frame we've given them, so we await their response. If their reply is satisfactory and they engage in a conversation, that's acceptable. However, if their response falls short, we'll proceed with the legal strategy we have in place." Viana stands firm in his conviction that the truth surrounding the events of 2008 and 2009 will be unveiled as an integral part of the legal proceedings. After the legal dust settles, there won't be any secret backroom dealings or hushed conversations from 2008 and 2009 involving stakeholders that remain concealed, he asserted. Every detail will emerge. So anyone who manipulated the sport, its fans, Felipe, Brazil, Italy, or anyone who neglected their legal or contractual obligations will have their actions laid bare for all to see. No aspect will be overlooked. The discovery phase of these lawsuits promises to be exceptionally intriguing. The legal team is armed with a clear argument, and as they strive for justice, they seek not just a victory on paper, but the tangible return of the championship trophy. Will their legal prowess and compelling case be enough to rewrite the history books and see Massa rightfully crowned as champion? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. Thanks for watching. Until next time.